Hi, welcome to Wigging Out, where we watch every single Kristen Wiig feature film. And we also talk about each other's wigs. Today, my co-host EJ is wearing a long blonde wig, probably made of a polyester material.
Yes, and today my co-host Chay is wearing a curly blonde wig. It's quite short, and it just covers his forehead.
Thank you. I like how your wig falls across your shoulders.
Thank you.
It's
like a light rain. That's how it feels.
That's what it made me think of.
Nice.
Yeah.
I like how yours is curly, but not annoyingly curly. You know how some people's wigs are just like, it's trying so hard. Yours isn't. It's naturally cool.
Thank you. Like, that's the most you can hope for a wig, is it being natural.
I agree.
Much like our patter is quite natural, I would say.
Yes.
We're very natural people.
Yep.
Talking of which, someone who comes from nature, Kristen Wiig.
Today we will be watching Kristen Wiig's first feature film, a 2003 film by Bob Odenkirk called Melvin Goes to Dinner.
Melvin Goes to Dinner, Kristen Wiig is credited as extra. We do not know yet if she is playing an extra or if she herself is an extra.
Yes, I can only assume we'll find out in the film. I'm excited to see her in this kind of role. This is something we've never seen from her before. We usually see her playing a lead or a supporting role, so this will show her versatility, I think.
Yeah, can she blend into the background? Or be a background? I don't know.
I can only assume we'll find out. Let's get into the film.
Please pause the current podcast you're listening to and insert the movie Laserdisc. Once finished with the film, please return to this prestigious podcast.
Melvin Goes to Dinner is a film about Melvin who goes to dinner with a friend of his who invites another friend of his who that friend then drags along another friend. And the four people discuss life, relationships, and sex.
Yes. 2 men and 2 women, to be clear about that.
But we're not here to talk about the film, per se. The film's weird camera angles and maybe slightly contrived plot. What we're here to discuss is Kristen Wiig.
Yes, how do you feel that Kristen performed in this film?
Well, I'm not gonna lie. I did not spot her in the background.
Presence was very subtle. Very subtle.
I did see an extra that looked a lot like Lisa Kudrow.
Yes, 3 separate people who walked in the room while we were watching the film thought it was Lisa Kudrow. It was not. But it could have been.
Do you think we made a mistake? Do you think we should have started a Lisa Kudrow podcast?
Well, if we were doing that, would it not just be a Friends podcast?
That's true.
And I don't feel like I can commit to that kind of thing.
And also, would we still be wearing the wigs?
No, which is half the reason we're doing this, is so we have an excuse to put wigs on. We just want to give something back to the listeners at home. Just to know we're wearing wigs, just to know how we feel when we're wearing the wigs, and we're watching Kristen Wiig. Although, jury's out on whether that's actually how you pronounce her last name.
Wig.
Wiig?
Do you think it's Wiig?
There's 2 I's, so it's hard to say.
Wiig?
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 Wug?
Well, that sounds like a U.
Yeah, I don't know. Write in and tell us the pronunciation, actually. Send it to... Do we have an email address?
No, I don't want people contacting us.
No? Alright.
Just tell them to write in and...
Just write it in. Write it to address the envelope to wigs.
Perfect.
In London, and give it a kiss, and it will find us.
That's great. That's perfect. That's really perfect.
Yeah.
I think, yeah. So maybe we should also talk about the film, just because Kristen Wiig obviously chose to be in this film.
Yes.
She wasn't just asked.
Yeah.
She probably read the script and decided, I want to be in the background of this film.
And not only that, she was listed under special thanks to our friends who appeared in this film. So she wasn't just an extra. She was considered a friend by the filmmakers. So that's very special.
That is special. IMDb didn't specify that she was a friend of the filmmakers.
That was definitely a plot twist at the very end.
Yeah, there was a plot twist at the end of the film.
Yeah.
How did you feel when... I don't want to ruin it for those people who aren't going to watch the film because no one has seen this film.
No, it was very hard to find. The plot twist... I don't know. For the second it happened, I was really not okay with it. And after I gave it a few minutes, I started getting on board because they sold it a little bit to me. But then there was like another plot twist at the very end, and I didn't like that because that was just way too much. And like you said before, it was too contrived.
Do you think Kristen Wiig knew about the plot twist before she decided to act in the film?
Maybe not. It could have been a twist for everyone.
That would have been quite surprising on set.
Yeah, a twist.
So, I know we didn't see much of Kristen Wiig, if at all. But if you were to rate Kristen Wiig's performance like you would a wig, what would you say about her performance?
I would give her 3 hairs.
3 hairs. That's what I would give. Like, not really recognizable, but you assure to people that there is definitely a wig on your head.
Yeah.
Despite it only being 3 hairs.
Yeah. If it were 1 hairs, then you could be like, well, that might not even be mine. But if it's 3, then you're like, well, odds are. It's more than 1, it's more than 2, but it's less than 4. And so you're like, yeah, that's me.
Not to get off topic, and not to worry you in any sense, but what happens if you find the 3 hairs, but one is a different colour from the other 2? Then, can you doubt the essence of the wig?
It depends on how different the colour is. If one of them's grey, then you could be like, well, this wig is just aging, and that's okay. But if one of them's like black, and the other ones are blonde, then, I don't know, might be a cat. Don't know.
Or maybe 2 just got bleached by the sun, and 1 was covered by your hat.
Yeah. Or it could be someone else's, and then you'd be like, oh, maybe I've hugged a friend recently.
And this is what I like about Kristen Wiig.
Yeah.
She brings you up questions about life. She makes you wonder about the magic in the world.
Yeah.
We wouldn't have discussed the 3 hair wig rule if it weren't for Kristen Wiig.
So true. Our day has taken a turn we didn't expect, all thanks to Kristen Wiig.
Much like in Melvin Goes to Dinner, where Melvin, his day takes a turn by going to dinner with an estranged friend.
Yeah.
Huh.
All of them have days they didn't expect because they all just coincidentally met up. And it's much like the plot of My Dinner with Andre, if we're being honest.
Except there's 4 people instead of 2, so it's twice as good.
Yes, okay, sure.
I feel like maths is the most important thing when deciding how good a film is over another film. So I'm going to say that's correct.
I would have to agree because we rate things on a number scale. So
yeah.
Obviously it's very important.
If you had 6 hairs on a wig, that'd be twice as good as the 3 hair wig.
Accurate.
Maths.
Yes.
It saved us all.
Shout out to math, everybody. Math Corner.
So, EJ, did you know that 2 plus 2 equals 4?
I did know that, but I'm really glad that you reminded me, because I haven't thought about that today.
Many people forget. It's actually one of the most stereotypical sums that people think of.
That's accurate. This has been Math Corner. Thank you.
So, maybe we might not be able to speak entirely about Kristen Wiig, but maybe we should talk about the other characters in the film. What did you think of Melvin from Melvin Goes to Dinner?
Well, maybe we should give our listeners a basic plot outline so they know what we're talking about, since no one has heard of this film. Or should we just let them guess?
It's up to you. They can guess. I think that's part of the fun.
Okay.
But also, if they want to give them a synopsis.
Okay. Melvin is a fellow who is a bit down, and he's asked to go to dinner by his friend, and most of the film is spent at dinner just watching four people have normal conversations. And we occasionally will get flashbacks when one of the characters tells a story, and so we kind of build their pasts and how they relate to each other through these flashbacks, some of which are told in pictures, which is a very odd choice.
Well, for the medium of film, pictures is the best choice. Le Jetty, the famous time travel film by Chris Marker.
Yes, one of my favorite films.
Told in pictures.
Yes.
And Melvin Goes to Dinner does 2 picture scenes.
Yes.
So it's probably twice as good as Le Jetty.
Yes, that logic follows. Yeah.
Okay, Melvin's in a relationship with someone who's married, and through this conversation with his friends, he learns to not be in that relationship.
Yes.
Giving away pretty much the whole film?
That just gives away the whole film, but that's fine, because no one's going to watch this.
Yeah, there's other things that happen with the other friends. Joey, who is particularly annoying and the most stereotypical white, straight man, American at a dinner table trying to make points that you would ever meet.
Yeah, I've met several.
Alex in the film has the best facial expressions and believes in ghosts.
Yes, yeah.
And I believe the other character's name was Zoe, and she was probably the most fleshed out, intriguing character of the 4, maybe?
I felt like she was the least fleshed out. In terms of past.
Maybe she was the least fleshed out, but she definitely had some of the more interesting... She was definitely someone I would like to have seen more of.
Yeah, it was, as I was watching, I thought, like, why aren't we seeing more from this one character's past, since we're focusing so much on Joey, who is a dick.
Yeah, and it was very weird that there's 4 friends, and each friend... So we first had a flashback with Melvin with his name as a title card, then Joey with a title card, then Alex with a title card, and then we didn't have one for Zoe.
Yeah, that's a good point. I didn't realize that. And we only got one more flashback for Alex as well, at the very, very end, and it kind of comes out of nowhere, and we sat there throwing our hands in the air because it was such an odd twist on top of an odd twist. Which maybe we should just give away, because it was that odd.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So the twist is... The first twist is Joey and Zoe. Are you sure that's her name? We're going to go with Zoe.
No.
With Joey and Zoe have been having an affair for 2 years, and they just happened to have a mutual friend that they didn't know about. And then they talk about that for a while. And then on top of that, Alex comes in with a confession that she killed someone when she was a teenager. And they just talk about that for a while. It was so bizarre.
Yeah, she killed someone, and that's why she believes in ghosts, because the person she killed is coming back and watching over her.
Yeah.
Now, I have an important question about the film.
Yes.
Obviously, we didn't see Kristen Wiig.
Yes.
We know she was present. I felt her presence. Much.
Was she a ghost?
Was she a ghost haunting the place?
Oh, man. That would tie in so well to some of her future projects. I want to believe that she was a ghost.
I want to believe it too. It's like the end of The Sixth Sense. If you edited The Sixth Sense, where you couldn't see Bruce Willis at all, that's what Melvin Goes to Dinner would be like.
It felt very much like that. Yeah.
She was there saying things, but we just didn't hear her.
Yeah, you're right, I did feel her presence very strongly throughout the film. You're just an atmospheric feeling to it.
I'm glad we figured that out, and that makes sense. Then she became a Ghostbuster later on. Yeah,
it all comes full circle.
Kristen Wiig is not someone who does things on a whim. She carefully thinks this all out, like a very long-form art project.
Yes.
Everything interweaves and connects. Yeah. In this multi-dimensional narrative that Kristen Wiig has created.
A 13-year stretch of walking us down this path of her starting from Ghost, slowly becoming more fleshed out and more real, corporeal being who then comes to be a human who then turns and hunts ghosts and busts ghosts for a living. A character who believed in ghosts and no one believed her for believing in ghosts. Much like Alex in this film.
Do you think Kristen Wiig is doing this all for just us? Us too?
I hope so.
That's been our podcast. Thank you for listening.